Out of 31 provinces in Iran, protest demonstration had rapidly erupted in 17 provinces, from Tehran to Tabriz to Mashhad. The Islamic Republic of Iran now facing a serious internal instability by its own citizens. Let's dive deep into what is really happening in Iran. On December 28, 2025, in Tehran, shopkeepers in the Grand Bazaar led the first phase of major demonstrations. Shopkeepers in the bazaar closed their business to demand relief from inflation and real collapse. In late December and early January 2026, the protests spread rapidly across the nation. By the New Year week, demonstrations had erupted in 17 of Iran's 31 provinces. Thousands of people joined the protest rally across Iran. Merchants, students, and ordinary citizens joined rallies and protests. In January 5, protests intensified in the border region of southwestern Iran, Ilam Province, especially in Malakshahi County of Ilam. When protests intensified, the security forces opened fire at the entrance of a military base. Several protesters were killed by security forces, and then troops reportedly entered and stormed Ilam's Imam Khamenei hospital to detain wounded protesters. Amnesty International said this violates international law, and Iran state media confirmed at least three protesters killed in Malakshahi County of Lam. On January 6th, major strike and marches hit the capital Tehran again. Tehran Historic Grand Bazaar and other markets saw thousands of shopkeepers and workers walking out or marching in the street and a demonstrator mass protest. Security forces deployed as much as possible with riot gear, and troops used batons and tear gas on protesters to impose their authority. On January 8, after the video call from exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, a mass crowd gathered in Tehran and many cities, and protesters defied security forces and chanted, "Death to the dictator, death to the Khamenei, death to the Islamic Republic," and even Pahlavi will return. Meanwhile, the Iran internet and phone network were cut off nationwide by Iran government. On January 10 to 14, the situation in Iran seems to be a massacre. Some reports tell that 2,000 to 12,000 protesters are massacred, and many videos on the internet show protesters are deeply wounded. Many protesters lost their life, but their spread seems to have increased rather than decreased. The protest starts from grassroots and becomes widespread, and many protesters seems to be an ordinary citizens who are dissatisfied by economic conditions such as inflation and dictated theocratic rule. Initially, the protest demonstrations was largely peaceful like labor strikes in the bazaar and symbolic marches. But later some clashes occurred, especially in places like Lodagan and Azna. Some witnesses describe protesters hurling stones at administrative buildings and banks. And this is the largest demonstration by ordinary citizens, especially after Jinnah Mahsa Amini death protest. She is a Kurdish Iranian woman who died in hospital in Tehran under suspicious circumstances. This protest seems to be a leaderless and decentralized protest for a common citizen's grievance, and currently the protest slogans grew increasingly political alongside economic demands. As per human rights activists in Iran, currently 12,000 to 16,000 plus protesters were killed, including security troops. But protesters' death rate is much larger than security troops, and about 16,700 detained by Iran police and IRGC. What was the economic situation in Iran which made its own citizens to demonstrate this mass protest? Years of Western nations like USA, UK, and its allies' sanctions on Iran and mismanagement have devastated Iran's economy. The rial has plummeted in value. One rial is now equal to 0.000010 United States dollar. This dramatically reducing purchasing power and fueling inflation. Food, medicine, grocery, and basic necessities become much more expensive. Most of the families can't affordable. Is the economic situation the only reason for the demonstration? Absolutely no. The economic situation is the one of the reason but not the absolute reason for the protest. Many Iranians are generally disconnected with the theocratic system which was ruled by the cleric and Supreme Leader Khamenei. Many Iranians have resentment in Iran's foreign policy. Many intel reports tell that Iran is spending nearly 15 to 16 billion USD per year on Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and etc. While ordinary Iranians have shortages at home, Iran's government spends billions in foreign to control their space of influence. This deeply makes resentment on Iranians. The Iran government made harsh legal framing on protesters. The Iranian judiciary labeled the protesters as enemies of God. This charge will cause the death penalty for some acts of protest. In some provinces, IRGC reportedly blocked blood donation and seized wounded protesters from hospital to detain them and prevent evidence from spreading. The Iranian police and IRGC did mass arrests across provinces and cities, and some bystanders too reportedly detained by the security forces. There was deep internal instability happening in Iran, which may cause regional instability or any military action. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Path of Global Politics and comment your thoughts on situation in Iran.